Hello, poets. I have a few more ideas for you today about working on your portfolio and some things that might help you think about how to organize your portfolio and add pages, put your poems in there, etc. So the first thing I want to talk about is adding pages to your website, your portfolio website. I think some of you are already doing this, which is great. But I think the best way to highlight each of the poems that you're going to include in your portfolio is to create a different page for each poem. That way each poem will really get highlighted with its original version, its revision, and the reflection you do about that poem. And it will be very easy for your reader, me, to move through each of your poems and see what I need to see for each poem that you're including in your portfolio. So it's really simple to add pages. All you do when you're at your home page for editing your portfolio is over here where you have different options. Usually I'm on the insert option because I'm working on a particular page, but I also can click on pages and I can use the button down here to add a new page. So this new page I'm going to add, I'm going to just call Poem 1. And I'm going to say Done. And you'll see now it adds this other page, this next page here along my blue banner menu. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a couple of pages right away so that I am starting to create my pages that I'll then want to add materials to. So you can, depending on which grade you're contracting for, you'll be including a different number of poems and their revisions in your portfolio. So I'm going to go back to my Poem 1 page, and now I need to go back to the insert page because I want to start developing my my Poem 1 page. And as I look at the different options here for content blocks in this little part of the website creator, I'm going to choose this content block because it allows me to add 3 different items, which is what I want to add for each poem. So remember, I'm going to have the original poem, I want to present the revision of the poem, and I want to present my reflections. So I'm going to add this content block. And this allows me, if I want to add something here, and I do need to add something. I need to add the poem itself. And one of the reasons we're working with Google Docs for your poems is because it's very easy to bring your Google Docs into your website. So we'll look at that in just a second. So here I can add a heading. You can maybe name it the title of the poem if you want. You can say, however you want to name this, if you want to use the title. What I'm going to do is say Poem 1 Original and then the title of the poem down below that. And then here I'm going to do Poem 1 Revision and the revised title. Your title for your revised poem may be the same. And then Poem 1 Reflections. And I don't have an extra name for that, so I'm just going to call that Poem 1 Reflections. So then back here, I'm going to ask to grab, I think I want to grab my poem from Google Drive. Let's see how this works. And I'm going to just do a search for my original poem. And there it is. It shows up for me really easily. I just click on that and it will, I believe, I have to then, okay, so I click on it, I choose the one I want, and then down here I choose Insert. And so now that inserts that Google Doc for me on my website. For the Poem 1 Revision, again, I'm going to click the plus sign, choose from Drive, do my search again. Why is it not? I'm just going to give less of a name here. Not sure why it's not showing up for me. Okay, I had to click the return key. It didn't want to just pop up for some reason. So here I've got my revision of my scarred poem, so I'm going to click on that. Again, I have to go down and select Insert, and that will insert that for me. And then finally, I'm going to insert my reflection on the revisions I made on this poem. Let's see. And here again, I've got my reflection. I'm going to select that and click Insert. So now I have my original poem, the revision of the poem, and my reflections on the revision. And once I have everything written outside of the portfolio itself, it's very easy to bring those into the portfolio. The thing I need to experiment with, I'm not totally sure about this yet, but I'm pretty sure when you use a Google Doc to include something in your portfolio, that your reader on your website page will be able to click on that Google Doc and open the whole Google Doc and see the entire thing. So I'm going to experiment with that. I'll report back, but I'm pretty sure that's how it will work. Now, the other thing I want to remind you about, this is something I have talked about in our Canvas course, but I want to show you this as well. So when I worked on the revision of my poem here, I had my original poem, and when it was time to work on the revision, what I did from the page of the original poem was I went to File, and I scrolled down to Make a Copy, and when I click Make a Copy, you'll see that it allows me to create a new copy. And here, instead of copy of, I put revision of, and then make a copy. And what that does is it opens it in a new tab. So now I actually have this same poem, but in two different tabs. And this new copy, now I can start working on my revisions, and I'll still have my copy and my record of the original poem, so that as I revise, I'm not just writing over the original poem and no longer have access to it. So if some of you have started working on your revisions in the original Google Doc and have not made a copy of the Google Doc, all is not lost. You can get back to that original version of the poem. When you're in your Google Doc, along the top of the page here, you'll see this little time clock, and when you click on that, that will show you the different versions of your document that you have created and worked on over time. So you can actually click on that little time clock. It will show you the different versions. You can select a different version, and it will allow you to restore that earlier version if you want to go back to it. So if you've already been working on those revisions, what I would do is make a copy at this point of the revisions you've worked on, and then in that original document, go up to this history option and go back and revert to your original poem. So I hope all of that makes sense. If you have any questions at all, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I've lost my original poem, what do I do about it? Just get in touch with me and I can help walk you through it, and we'll see if we can help you find again the original poem that you worked on and submitted in class. So hopefully, as you think about working on your portfolio website, this is a helpful way for you to think about organizing the pages of your website and how to organize presenting the poems. Of course, if you're comfortable in Google Sites and want to get a little bit more fancy, or you have other ideas about how you want to organize and present your work, that is totally fine. Your portfolio should be a creative expression of you. So please feel free to use the portfolio in that way. But this, what I'm showing you here, is just a very basic way to help you get started and to give you some ideas for how to do that development of your portfolio. I am really excited to see what all of you come up with.